Hey guys, this first question, or the first thing I'm going to do is actually a review, but I want to make sure you know how to convert in both directions. So it says here, convert from conic to standard. So what we have right here, let me change this real quick. This type of problem here is called conic. Okay, and so when it looks like that, it's called conic. When it looks like this, it's called standard form. So I'm actually going to show you how to go from this to one of those down there, and then vice versa. So you have to be able to convert from both forms. So when we're converting, excuse me, from conic to standard, what we're having to do is the completing the square thing. So some of you I think were struggling with that. So the first thing you want to do, so your step one, I'm gonna write over here, is to move the constant. And that's just the number without an x or a y. So move the constant. So I'm gonna write out the steps here. Excuse me. I have an alarm going off. Okay. So we're gonna do that by adding 33 to both sides. So we get x squared plus y squared minus 8y equals, I'm gonna put a little space here and you'll see why in a second, plus 33. So that's your first step. Okay. Now your second step, which actually is going to be fairly simple in this example, but your second step is going to be to put the x's together it's taking me a while to write this out, and y's together. Sorry, I know it's taking me a while, but all right, so put the x's together and the y's together. So on this one, though, notice we only have x squared. We don't have an x. So this is actually going to be easier because we don't have anything to really do with the x. There's not going to be an x plus 5 or an x minus 3 or anything like that. We don't need to add, like I saw some of you wanting to add like plus 1x or something like that. If there's no x, then we're done with the x part. So meaning we don't have to complete the square with the x part. So we're done with that. So here we already have the y's together. So sometimes, like if you look up here, you'll have to move the 22x next to x squared, and you'll have to move the 30y next to y squared. But here you don't have to do that. So what we're going to do now is complete the square with the y. Again, we don't have to do it with the x squared because there's no x. There's no plus 5x or something like that. So what we're going to do now, and again, let me change the size here. What we're going to do now is complete the square. And you remember, that means you take this number, divide by 2, which is -4, and then you square that. Now here's what's very important. When you square that, make sure you put it in parentheses, because a lot of you will square -4 and put -16. -4 squared is not -16. It is +16. So guys, please make sure you're not making that mistake. And I'll go ahead and tell you, this number, when you complete the square, will always be positive, because every number squared is a positive number. But because we add 16 over here, we have to also add 16 over here. Now, the reason this is important is because what we've just created here, so this little thing here, is now a perfect square, and we can write that as y minus 4, and the -4 comes from right here, squared, equals, and then what is this, 49 And so we've just converted from conic to standard form. Okay, so that's the example of that. Again, I have other videos on that I've already made, but I wanted to do another example. I'm going to stop the video here because it's already 5 minutes or so long, and I'm going to make a video going over how do we go in the other direction. So how, if I gave you this, would you go back to this?